A college senior of mine was working with a big FANG company, and I thought this is some legal job that is into an actual advocate.
That DevRel is the overall encompassing organization. And within developer relations, you have developer advocates, you have developer or technical writers who write documentation.
I was flabbergasted because I had no clue what DevRel was. I thought it would be sales, to be honest.
A developer advocate is like a developer's best friend. There are a lot of names and there are a little bit tiny of differences, but I think it overlaps in a lot of places.
DevRel for me is a two-way street. I essentially think of it like aligning my brand with a brand that I'm passionate about.
Hi, in this video let's talk about the definition of DevRel, because to unlock DevRel we need to start from the basics, and this is not an easy task. DevRel is not a math theorem we can just enunciate, and the reason is that all the developer advocates have different experiences in this role and they give different definitions. So the best we can do is to get some definitions and compress them into a single video. I did that for you, no worries. So here is a collection really worth watching of definitions of DevRel and developer advocacy. All these definitions have been given to me live without reading, so kudos to these amazing DevRels. Let's start. Can you define more about developer advocate roles?
For me, it was when a college senior of mine was working with a big FANG company, and she told me that she's working in the community and she's working as a developer advocate. And trust me, that time, just like everyone else I thought this is some legal job that is into an actual advocate. And they just take care of all the wrong things that developers do. That's what I thought a developer advocate means. I started reading a lot about developer advocacies when I realized developer advocacy is a role which every developer could do if they want to, and it's something that helps other developers reach their higher potential and get better at their development skills. And so to give you background about when did developer advocacy come into picture and how did it come, so recently there are a lot of SaaS companies coming up into the market, and with any SaaS product or any developer product, the product has to be explained to developers itself, right? That's where developer advocates come into. They make sure that the product that they're advocating for is well explained to a developer, and the onboarding experience for that developer is really, really smooth, so that they do not have any issues while they're integrating their application, their ideas with the set of product that the developer advocates for. That's where the word advocacy comes into.
Difference between DevRel and DA is that DevRel is the overall encompassing organization. It's developer relations. And within developer relations, you have developer advocates, you have developer or technical writers who write documentation. You also have DPEs, or developer programs engineers, who focus on supporting client libraries and the overall ecosystems for the products themselves. And they might also write tutorials, code labs, etc. There's a little bit of overlap between the roles. You may see some people in those roles doing similar work.
What is DevRel for you? How will you explain it? It's not easy.
Okay, no, it's not, because I remember when, so basically how it happened is how I got into this. I asked Ciulla, the CEO of Web Developers, great guy, if I could speak at one of their events, right? And he went, you can eventually, but how about you help us organize, because we see you being active on Twitter. I had my own Discord community where we had developers, it was growing, 2K, etc., etc. And he noticed all of that. So he told me, this would be a great opportunity for you to get paid to do what you love doing. And he told me, like, you couldn't get into DevRel, and I was flabbergasted because I had no clue what DevRel was. I thought it would be sales, to be honest, because developer relations sounds like something you would do in sales. Totally not. It's being a developer, it's being a social media content creator, it's being a digital marketing strategist, copywriter, blogger, many other things. You have to wear many hats, and you have to be good at those, because if one of the hats kind of falls off your head, so to speak, then the rest starts collapsing as well, like a domino effect. So you have to be good at many things, and it's not like you need to get into DevRel. It's not like you need 1 million subscribers on YouTube or followers on Twitter. You need to be able to communicate with the developer community about either the brand or the topic or whatever else that represents the company you work for example. It could be also your own product as well, right? So it's basically to really bring it down, building a community and really engaging with those people. I would say that's how it works for me.
A developer advocate is like a developer's best friend, right? So there's a lot of names and there are a little bit tiny of differences, but I think it overlaps in a lot of places. So when you talk about technical evangelism, developer relations, developer advocacy, or things like that. So if you're talking about developer advocacy, I learned about this from Kai, with whom I work with at Ciulla. He's also a developer advocate. So there's two strands to it. One is the outward developer advocacy and one is the inward developer advocacy. So outward basically means that you're at a conference and you're outreaching your product, like, hey, you should use this. You can use, this is how we are trying to solve the problem. And, for example, my role as a developer advocate, creating content, working on documentation. And people ask, do developer advocates code? Yes, we do. We do coding part as well. So it's not like, it's like a really good balance between the people skills and the technical skills. So obviously technical skills are required. It's not like a marketing sort of a role. So you need to have hands-on, coding experience or whatever. And at least in my role and many people that I have worked with, it's important, and we do get to do quite a lot of it. So just outreaching the product and making sure, like, giving and receiving feedback and all these other things. But the second thing is inward developer advocacy. So every single, these companies, they have like developers and employees and stuff who work on the product, who are the team behind the product. So communicating it with them, like, everything is not like 100% perfect. So communicating with them, like, hey, we have received this feedback. We would like to implement this. We would like to try this, and just connecting the dots. So that's that one person, like a developer advocate. It's like the person that sits between the outside, the outreach of the company, and the inward reach of the company as well. So that's mostly what the role is about. Working closely with the teams, outreaching the product, and outreach the product to more and more developers and solve their problems, as I mentioned.
And now I think a question that I made like 100 of times, if not 200 of times, and I always get a different answer. So what is DevRel for you?
DevRel for me is a two-way street. I essentially think of it like aligning my brand with a brand that I'm passionate about, right? That's very key. Don't miss that part, because I don't think you can be a really effective developer advocate if it's something that you don't really even like yourself that much, So it has to be something that you care about. And you are essentially teaching and bringing awareness to developers about the products that brand makes. And you're an in-house representation of the customer base. So you also bring it internally, like, listen, this is not going to be a hot feature. Nobody asked for this. Nobody wants it. Let me tell you what developers want, right? Here's the feedback that I'm getting. Then you do that. So that's, in my opinion, what developer relations is. It's a two-way street where I essentially act as an advocate for the end user who happens to be a developer. I help them. I educate them. I let them know, what features and products that we have. And then I also let the internal folks know what these folks are thinking.
Amazing developer advocates, amazing definitions. My current one is developer advocacy, or DevRel, is a two-way process connecting developers with the company and the company with developers. And it can be done by one single person or by a team, and the main responsibilities can be remembered by the first 6 letters of the alphabet. Advocate for the company. Build solid and genuine relationships with developers. Create content, documentation, articles, videos. Discuss the product. Onboarding, calls, meetups, talks, events. Empower companies' social media. Feedback. Collect and report to the company's team. And this in a spiral that gradually expands while the company hopefully grows. And the ultimate goal of a developer advocate is to create more developer advocates.